We're going to look at exercise 2-2, edit and test the book page. So what it wants you to do first is start your text editor, which I did. I opened up brackets over here. And by the way, I'm working off of a Mac, but I will give you like the screen or the keystrokes for PC as well. All right, so number one, we start our text editor. Number two, it wants us to open up the file javascript_jQuery.html. And that's in the Chapter 2 folder of your exercises. What I did was I just made a copy of this folder. And on a Mac, you just right-click and duplicate. On a PC, just right-click copy. And so I have this one down here. So I'm going to work on this just because I don't want to mess up my original file. And so it wants me to open up this. I see I have a book.css and I have a javascript_jQuery.html and then a picture, JPEG in here, which this image is what is going to be here in this file. So that's why it's all in the same folder. So I'm just going to grab this one. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and grab this one. And I'm just going to drag both of them down into my brackets. And you can see how it opens up right there. That's kind of a nice little shortcut for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Move this over here. And so number 3, tells us to open the CSS file. There we go. Number 4, run the HTML file in Chrome. So I can do that from within brackets. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm on my HTML file and then go over to this little lightning bolt right here. It says Live Preview. I'm going to click on that and it's going to open up my Chrome here on the side and then show me what this page actually looks like in live view. So I'm going to leave that open because now when I make changes I can see in real time what it looks like on the page. Alright, so number 5. We're going to start to modify a little bit. So we go into our text editor, brackets in this case. We're going to look at the book.css file. So I'm going to click on that, make sure that that's active. And here are some of my CSS selectors and the properties associated with them. So I want to we're going to change the float property for the img element. IMG stands for image, and as you can see on the page, that's this image right here. So currently the image is floating to the left. You can see it's on the left-hand side. It's asking us now to change it to the right. So I'm going to click on this, or I can double-click and highlight it, and I'm going to start typing right in there. And you notice even after just putting in the R, I see my options. So by doing that, you can see it changes it to the right. That image is now floating to the right of the content. All right, and so then number 6, also in the CSS file, we're going to change the color for the H1 element to red. So H1, that's one of our tags that decides on what size our headers are going to be, our headings. So here's our heading, JavaScript and jQuery. So H1, instead of navy, it says to make it red. So I'm going to do that. Type in, gave me Indian red. Interesting. Okay, red. There we go. And you can see it automatically changes it over here. So it also wants us to change the font size to 180. So right now it's at 200. So I'm going to change that to 180. And you can see that automatically change for me. All right, number 7. It says go back to the JavaScript jQuery HTML file. And we're going to add a P element at the bottom of the page that has this content. For customer service, call us. So let's go find that. Let's see, for customer service. I guess it's we'll just add it right underneath here. Just add more in here. So I'm going to just type in my less than sign. That's what that is. And a P stands for paragraph. And when I put the greater than sign in there, the bracket, it automatically gives me the closing bracket for the paragraph, or the closing tag, excuse me. So inside here is where I want to put this content. So for customer service, let's just type this in here. Oops, call us from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-555-555-555, period. All right. So now I'm going to save this. I'm going to go to Command S to save, or Control S if you're on a PC. I'm going to also click on my CSS. I'm going to Command S or Control S for that. And notice it added an additional paragraph right down here at the bottom with the information I just typed in. Okay, number 8. We're going to go back to the HTML file here. We're going to add an ID attribute with the value service to the P element that we just entered. So going down here to this P element for paragraph, I'm going to click right inside there, right before the closing bracket there, the greater than sign, put a space, and I'm going to do ID equals, and then I'm going to put in here service, inside quotes, and there we go, Command S. Doesn't do anything because that's just a placeholder, because we have to actually do something in the CSS with that ID in order for us to see any change. And that's exactly what number 9 is going to have us do. So we're going to go back up to our book.css, and we're going to enter a style rule for the element with service as its ID. Okay, so we don't have one right now, so we're going to have to do that right below here. We're going to use, if we're talking about an ID, then we can use hashtag service. And I'm going to have my open and close curly braces, so I'm going to cut them apart right there. And it wants us to set the color property to red, and it should set the clear property to both. Okay, so color is red, semicolon, and clear both, another semicolon. Okay, so you can see how it did that for us. All right, Command S to save. All right, so now we're going to validate in the HTML file. Go back over here. We're going to delete, where did it say? Delete the ending closing bracket, the greater than sign, for the image tag. So if I am, there's my image tag right up here. So this closing bracket or greater than sign, if we delete that, just like that, I'm going to save. Then we're going to go to the website. I need to go find that, so I'm going to pause for just a minute.